Hello everybody. Today's video we're going to be talking about or giving my first impressions on the Orks from the perspective of a Chaos Space Marine player. Hope you guys enjoy my quick little story and thoughts about them. Now, with regards to the Orks, in my experience with fighting them, I've only played against them one time. In that one game I've played against them, I was playing Creations of Bile Detachment for the Chaos Space Marines, a mostly melee-oriented army with Chosen Legionnaires possessed, Fabius Bile leading some Chosen, 2 tanks, Predator Destructors, and some Chaos Cultists. And then I was playing against my friend Jack, who was playing the Mordaka Orks detachment. He had a lot of Ludas, some Squighog boys, Burner boys, 2 Gorkanauts. Skazgul was the war boss, among a bunch of other things, 2 trucks, and just a lot of orcs. And in that game I ended up losing. I was struggling to win a battle of attrition against orcs. There were just way too many of them. It didn't matter if it was in the shooting phase or the fighting phase. Things were rough for me. It was kind of hard to keep board control when I would get certain objectives, and doing certain secondary objectives was kind of difficult, but overall it was fun. It was a fun time, good time. There was a good amount of back and forth, even if there was some miscommunication with what certain orc units did, and some confusion about like Vashtor the Archfane's ability, since that was my first game using Vashtor, and my friend wasn't too, like, he didn't really know what Vashtor did, so I had to explain to him multiple times that, hey, like, when you shoot him, you know, if anything that is shooting him is within 18 inches, they have to roll hazardous, and that ended up killing some of his Ludas and some of his, I think, boys and burner boys. And I struggled to take down two Gorkanauts. One Vashtor was fighting, and then the other I had Fabius Bile and my Chosen kind of stuck into combat with, because they really couldn't get to anything else, and they were kind of stuck out in the open. So I figured, well, might as well just have them chop at this thing's ankles, so to speak. Now, with that, and with that one game under my belt, which, as I said, I ultimately did lose that game. What are my thoughts on the Orks as an army, as a faction to play against? Well, number one, orcs are still orcs in Mordaka. They still will beat you down in melee. Just because their shooting is mildly better, thanks to Mordaka, they still will beat the crap out of you. You know, that's, what can you do? They're orcs. But to that, though my army was outnumbered, whether it be because of just amount of models there were on the table or amount of units, though I was outnumbered, the game felt fair. There was and to that point, there was a good, healthy amount of casualties, like back and forth between my opponent, my friend, and myself. The same can't be said of some armies. I know, like, just from personal experience, the Necrons don't feel like a very fun army to fight against, because there isn't that level of healthy back and forth, I guess you could say. Maybe it depends on what army you're playing, but, you know, just as an example, I'm sure other armies that kind of fall into that same purview would be like Custodes and Imperial Knights. But overall, like, though outnumbered, though I was kind of in a bad way, like, for most of the game, things felt good. It was fun. There was, you know, lighthearted banter and what have you, as it should be, regardless of what armies you're playing. For my thoughts on, like, particular units, Mazrog, with leading some Squighog boys, is pretty freaking scary. I didn't realize how scary he would be, running over and just beating the crap out of my Predator Destructors. He destroyed both of my tanks, and I couldn't do anything about it. I could not manage to take him down. It took like 2 squads of Legionnaires, of like 5 models of Legionnaires, plus I think a Chaos Lord or two to like try to kill him just by himself, and I could not. Uh, we'll leave that up to just the dice gods, the dark gods being not too pleased with me that day. But like, man, Mazrog and some Squighog boys are scary. And to that end, right, with other like big name character that my friend had, Gazgul is also pretty scary. Now, I mean, granted, it's Gazgul. He's gonna be scary in melee, so like, yeah, no duh. But there was a time, there was like a moment in that game where I happened to have some Legionnaires and the Chaos Lord be stuck into melee with Gazgul, and they actually did do some good damage before just getting absolutely backhanded by Gaz. So it was over. And then my thoughts on Makari, just since him and Gaz are a package deal. Makari's a little rat. He's just a little rat that does not die, which is kind of the point. But man, Makari made fighting Gaz so much more annoying for my Legionnaires and Chaos Lord. It was not fun. But overall, in terms of overall thoughts and impressions from fighting the Orks, and I'm sure this is dependent on like what detachment and what army, what kind of army and detachment the Orc player is playing, and like what kind of army and detachment I might be playing, or you as the opponent of the Orcs might be playing. But I think overall they're fun. I think overall the Orcs are an enjoyable army to play against because there's a nice healthy amount of like, you're gonna have things get stuck into melee. You're gonna have things do some shooting, even if the Orcs shooting isn't all that great. You're gonna have things kind of doing a little bit of maybe everything. To a degree, it's different than like Space Marines and whatnot, where like those aren't like a Space Marine army might actually do a little bit of everything, but like Orcs can kind of enjoyably do stuff, and depending on like how you want to flavor it, it could be a more vehicle oriented army with like a bunch of trucks and and like Gorkonauts and whatnot, or you could just have it be purely just Green Tide and it just be boys, boys, Ludas, Burna boys, all that. Or Speed Freaks with just cars. But overall was pretty fun, pretty enjoyable, and I no complaints. And I would very much love to play against the Orcs again. I would say regardless of what army I would play against them with. But with that, guys, that'll be my quick little thoughts and just first impressions of fighting the Orcs. Feel free to comment down below what your thoughts are on the Orcs, whether as a Orc player or as someone who fights Orcs, maybe in your local game environment. You play against them a lot. What are your thoughts? Do you guys have any like pointers or tips or tricks that you've picked up on the way dealing with them? Also, what are your thoughts about the hobbying aspect of Orcs? I've heard that they're actually quite fun, and you can kind of do a little bit of everything. And hey, that mistake you made with painting, it wasn't actually a mistake; it was completely intentional. Trust. Yeah, with that, hope you guys enjoyed my quick little thoughts and impressions of the Orcs as a Chaos Space Marine player. I love my Orcs. I love my Green Boys. If I didn't like Space Marines so much, just broadly speaking, I probably would want to play Orcs. Though I would be scared of collecting them because that'd be a massive collection and monetary investment. But yeah, with that, hope you guys enjoyed. Consider liking the video. Consider subscribing. You don't have to. It's perfectly fine if you don't. But with that, I hope you guys have a great time doing whatever it is you're doing. Hope your day goes well, and have a great time on the tabletop. Until next time. See you guys later.